Lee in the Department of History, and I'm honored to be moderating this event for the second time. I'll just have a couple of brief introductory thoughts. I studied Greek history, ancient Greece, which is a far cry from the modern world. But one of the things that occurred to me as I was preparing for tonight is if an event like this were held in ancient Athens, people wouldn't have understood what was going on. Because in ancient societies like Athens, the soldiers and the citizens were identical. So the citizen body could go off to war. And those who voted for war were also those who conducted the war, those who fought it. And that's not the case in our modern society. And it's a difference that is really striking. In nearly our 10th year of war, the war is off many people's radar screens, especially on university campuses. There's another thing that I think about in coming to a forum like this. As a historian, I'm always interested in sources. And recent events have produced all sorts of historical documents, from actual historical analysis to literature to poems. But tonight, what you are going to hear is, in essence, another sort of historical source, the oral histories, the oral experiences of people who are members of our very own campus community right here. So it's a very special, different kind of history. And what I really like about this in my conversations with them, and their membership has changed over the years, is the diverse perspectives and the diverse experiences that they bring. You will find nobody here uses stereotype, and they all have their own take on their experiences as veterans and as students. So we have Victor, Alonso, Nick, Boris, and Justice. Let us turn to begin with our first question and ask, why did you join the military?
There are so many reasons why I joined. It's kind of hard to just pinpoint one exact answer. But the best answer that I have is it's like a sense of calling. It calls upon you, like you're like, you know, I feel like I need to do a service for this country. And for me, the reason being was that I had my parents, they came over from Mexico. They came over to this country, and since they've been in this country, they've been doing very well for themselves. And for me, it's like I felt like I needed to give back to this country to pay out the debt that they've acquired through the past few years. And I figured like I've already paid the debt off for like my sisters and my parents for them, so I was like their sacrifice.
First of all, again, my name is Alonso. My take's a little bit different. I was actually going to community college at the time, and I was about to transfer to four-year university, and I really couldn't afford it. There's no way, because my parents, you know, they can't help me, so there was no money for me available, whatever. So I remember there was a career fair at the time at the community college, and there was an Army recruiter, and you know, I walked by, and he had like a big sign that said, you know, you join, we'll give you $50,000, whatever, and he put it, you know, he kind of like convinced me, because for me, it was either that or drop out. So I ended up going to the recruiter's office. It was Saturday morning, so the only office that was open at the time was the Marines. And I walked in, and you know, they kind of like, you know, they showed me all the options and all this and that. And well, that was like the main reason. It was really education. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it was education. But the second thing is like, I was born in Mexico and I came here, and then I became a U.S. citizen. So basically, when I became a U.S. citizen, I kind of like adopted this country like my country. So I said, you know, you might as well serve for this country and do something, you know, give back, like you were saying, just give back to this country. And that's why.
I guess we all have some parts in common with school, at least. I dropped out of high school. I got a GED. It was in order to go to a technical school, and I'll try to keep it brief. I went there at 16, did about a year there, probably half a year, and then I dropped out of that to do my own little business. And then from there, I started working at IBM at 18, and I was so pumped, like I was on my career path, my dream job. And then one day I just had an epiphany. I just said, you know, I don't want to be sitting in a cubicle for the rest of my life. So I wanted to do something radical, and I joined the Army in 2003, and it wasn't out of any sort of dedication to the country or money for school or anything really. It was just I wanted adventure, so I signed up and just wanted to shock my life.
How was your transition to college, and what do you think you have gained from starting a military service than you might have experienced if you had gone straight to college?
part of the story, I guess, for everyone is pretty similar with, it was really weird to not have to shave and to let my hair grow out. I let it grow up like pretty long actually for a while there. And for me, I carry around a pretty young face everywhere I go, so it's like, people don't even understand, like I'm 27 years old. They're like, wow, you know, like, yeah, I've been around the whole world a couple of times, you know, taking a trip. But for my school, like I said, when I was in the military, I did nuclear engineering school for like 2 years. It was long hours, and it was a lot of studying, and it was a lot of the same stuff I'm doing right now. So the transition school-wise is super easy. It's actually harder for me to go to school now, because I guess I care a little bit less, and I'm a little more chill about everything than I was then. But grades-wise, I've always been pretty much a shoe-in to get here. And that's pretty much my transition's been great. Like, the people here at UCSB are a lot better than at community college, though. If I had to tell anybody who was just getting out of the service, I would tell them just go straight to UC. Don't even worry about it. You know, like, they'll have different opinions on what you need to do. People here at UCSB are real cool.
Well, like I said before, I was kind of like flunking out of community college, so that didn't really, like, that set my mindset right there. Like, I didn't like school at all, actually. And then when I came, like, you know, getting shipped out, you know, on that C-130, landing down in Iraq, you're like, man, should have paid attention in school. So, like, I definitely, I was all about it. Like, I just hit the ground running, and, you know, I got my GPA back up and everything, and, like, I was just, my nose in the book, and, like, even if it was tough or whatever, I just, like, whatever, just do it, just finish it. So, like, it was kind of more of a mind over matter situation for me, but yeah, I think my transition was a little bit easier.
I got out and I had probably 9-10 months to kind of adjust to civilian life after getting out, and I started in school back in Colorado, and really I found a huge difference between that school and UCSB is, you know, there were so many kids that didn't care about, you know, they'd C's, get degrees, whatever, and it made me just push myself so hard. And then once I got to UCSB, it's just the same thing with all these guys. I mean, I just applied, you know, you think about things from the military, and you look at it, you've got some exam coming up, or a huge paper, and you haven't even done anything on it, and you just think, you know, never quit. You know, that's our motto. I mean, you just never quit. So it doesn't matter how big the assignment or whatever the workload, you just say, hey, I'm getting it done. I'm going to shoot for an A, and, you know, don't stop until I get it. So.
What would you say to your brother or sister if they wanted to join the military?
I would probably, if they want to join, I would probably say yes, because you can get so much out of the military, like as an institution. The military does great things for you. There are a lot of resources out there. You can, like, for example, I couldn't be here if it wasn't because of them. So there are a lot of good things. There are a lot of positive things about the institution. One of them is that you can make great friends, and you get to, you know, not really travel the world, but it gets you to, like, so many different experiences, so many different schools, training, the whole thing that, you know, whatever you get to do when you're in charge of a lot of people. Like as a platoon sergeant, you know, you become like their dad, their mom, their priest, you know, their doctor. I mean, you feel all these different hats, and that's like a unique experience that that really makes you mature, because you have all these privates coming to you and asking you, is like, hey, how do I, you know, I'm gonna buy a car, like, what's the deal? Or, you know, it's just like a whole different range of things that you actually have to learn before you can pass the knowledge on to these privates and stuff like that. So I think it's a great institution. You can, I mean, it can go either way. You can either take advantage of it and make it work for you, or you can just become an alcoholic, like, really. So it's really up to you and what you do. And then I would say one of probably the best things is that, just like the whole experience, how it helps you mature. Like, once, you know, I came out of there, just like, it's, you know, I think, I want to say, like, I have experience, like, I'm not a better person, but just like all the experiences made me, you know, get ready for, like, the real life, and that's it.
I'm going to literally tell you exactly what I said. It's real simple. You need to find multiple reasons why you're in there. Like, if it's just because of money, or if it's just because of school, like, I'll be honest with you, like, you'll regret. Like, it's hard, and every day is going to be a test to, like, doing what you're doing. So if you're just throwing that out there, like, oh, I want to join, it's like, dude, it's a contract. It's a contract. You're signing your life away, literally. Like, you can die. So I just told him, was like, just don't take it, like, take this extremely serious. If you really, really want to do it, do it. Like, I'll tell you all the experiences that I had, but that doesn't mean anything. You're not going to live through them, you know? But, yeah, I definitely don't regret doing what I did. I mean, look where I'm at. But, yeah, it was crazy. Like, when he called me, I was like, what? He'd be like the last person that I thought would ever ask. But, yeah, it's like, if it's you, if you're going to do it, if you think you can do it, do it. If you have doubts, good luck.
I personally don't have any regrets on joining. I was probably 3 months in, 3.5 months in. I was going to airborne school in Fort Benning, Georgia, and I called home to my brother, and he was going, you know, off track on his own thing with drugs and going downhill. And he called me out of nowhere and he said, "Hey man, hey, I'm thinking of joining the Army." And this is the last thing you expect to hear from this guy. And it blew my mind, and you know, I just said, "Hey, you know, it's no joke. I mean, you lose your freedom. There's a lot of sacrifice, and it's tough. It's really tough." But you know, sitting here at this table and going to UCSB, I mean, the payoff is so great. You know, just like any hard thing that you do, any accomplishment, whether it be a big exam or whether it be, you know, doing deployments or you in the military, you're cursing it while you're doing it. Then when you're done, you look back and you're just thinking, "Oh, hell yeah, you know, I'd do it again, no problem."
Describe a surreal moment or your funniest moment in the service.
You go with the funniest moment. Alright. So we're in a big, huge training event in Germany. We're out in Hohenfels, and there's a big combat maneuver. I mean, we have tanks, Bradleys, we got Pyro warriors, everything moving through. And then I hear my BC go with intercom, "Hey, look over to the left." I look over to the left out of my little periscope window, and I have civilian Germans that were going on a nature hike just waving at us. In the middle of a movement, really? That was just like, wow.
For me, I'm gonna go with the funniest one, I guess. When I was in Kuwait, I was in charge. I was the lead driver, and I was in charge of escorting VIPs like generals and whatnot. But they put me as the welcoming guy for this community, for the VIPs flying into Kuwait International Airport. So we're not in uniform because we're not allowed to go in uniform in there. So I'm wearing a civilian attire, and we had to actually get permits for concealed weapons. So my team, for some reason they choose me to be the welcoming party. So I'm standing where the gate is gonna open and everybody's gonna come out. But I'm surrounded by Kuwaiti personnel, and I'm wearing civilian, like I said, I'm not in uniform, and my team, everybody's deployed in different locations. So the generals are coming out, and I'm approaching, and I'm saying, it's like, "All right, how you doing? My name is Sergeant Zavala. You need to come with me," and they're just freaking out because they think, well, first of all, while I'm waiting for them, I know all these Kuwaiti guys. They come and start talking to me in Arabic because they think I look like an Arab, and they're like da 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 da, and they're pointing to me, and it's like, "Oh man, I don't. First of all, I don't speak the language. I really don't understand what you're saying, and I'm busy, so you gotta kind of step back." And they're like, "Oh no, da, 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 da. They keep talking to me. It's like I don't want to be rude, but I really don't understand what you're saying, and you kind of need to step back." And so every time it would happen twice. It was the generals would come out, and I would grab their bags and I would say, "Follow me." So I'm walking, and they're not even moving. They're just like, "Who is this guy?" And then they start to ask me all these random questions. They're like, "Where are you from? Like, what unit are you? Who's your commanding officer? Like, what unit are you from?" And this and that. And I'm like, I gotta give them the whole speech. I'm with Marcin, blah blah blah. We need to get out of here. Until finally I told my boss after the second time it happened, I was like, "I'm not. Pick somebody else. Like, look at me. Like, they think I'm one." The accent doesn't help. Like, my accent, I speak with an accent, and they think I'm gonna kidnap them or something. Like, no, I'm not doing it. Not anymore.
Probably one of the more surreal moments was my second deployment out there. I was maybe 23 or something like that. Most of the people are 19, 20 on the ship. There's 5,000 of us on that thing. And I could never say, you meet this person, you can never, they just seem like they're just the most awkward people ever, you know what I mean? The group of sailors is not a good group. And somehow, We've got 8 nuclear reactors on board. We've got like 60 warplanes. We all managed somehow to get this thing all up and running, out to port, all the way over to where we need it to go. Like nothing happens bad, like no one gets hurt, anything like that. And I just remember just standing on the flight deck, I was just looking out at the waves and things like, man, these guys really impress me. Like the crew of the Enterprise impresses me a lot. Like to be a bunch of like 19, 20-year-old, kids, I guess, but that are just doing this, like operating all this equipment. No one got, like 3 deployments I went on, no one ever died. Like in 3 deployments, because they were stupid, And that's, obviously people lose their lives, but not because it was their fault, And I felt real glad about that.
A question about the other side of life. For you, what was the most difficult part of being in the service?
Just having to deal with death, like, constantly. It was like something that just kept occurring around us. And just like getting to the point where it was almost started being normal. I think that was the biggest thing I had to deal with.
I kind of knew what branch in general I kind of wanted to do, and I chose one that I knew I wasn't gonna. I don't think I could deal with being in the Army, to be totally honest. Like, not for me. But either way, nuclear power was. They always were like, you don't understand. Like, there are nuclear reactors right by you. Like, this is crazy. I'm like, I know. I've been doing this for years. So please back off. Like, and then you become the guru, and you're supposed to be the guy who's telling all the new guys how important it is to do all this stuff when you know that it really isn't that important. That you can do, you know that you can do what you need to do, and everything's gonna work out fine. Those things are designed really safe, but you know that if you don't kind of almost buy into the lines that you always hated, being the guy from hearing it from above, if you didn't buy into it, then they might go worse than you did, you know what I mean? And do really stupid things and maybe be unsafe. It's almost like they get you to this point just so they know that you're going to end up being over here, you know what I mean? Not so you end up being like really wayward and stuff. I always thought that was really hard. Just lose a lot of sleep being the guru, lots of sleep depth down there.
Since I worked on helicopters but I guess the thing that I hated the most was after we had medical and casualty evacuations, that the whole cleanup situation kind of sucked. But other than that, it's just the same old BS. Sweep the deck. You're in Iraq. It's gonna get dirty again in 5 minutes, or it's so serious. These helicopters. It's right. These helicopters can't fly at just become rocks in the sky. But it's the same stuff. I think we're all pretty much similar in that sense.
Would you ever encounter any negative perceptions? And if so, how have you dealt with them?
Mainly positive reviews, but when areas that are highly concentrated with a lot of military personnel, we do get a little drunk and rowdy sometimes. Just sometimes. But yeah, pretty good positive reviews.
And you get a lot of mixed reviews because they see what soldiers are really like. It's not what you see on TV. It's not heroics all the time. It's a bunch of guys that are tired and they want to party and they're getting drunk and they'll tear up your place. But they spend a lot of money too, so people like them. But here in the U.S., I've got nothing but praise and good feedback from everybody.
I know that when I was talking with 4 of you yesterday, you mentioned the positive receptions that you've had encountered, especially when traveling in uniforms. One of you want to talk a bit about that?
I think one of the ones I had was right out in Fort Worth, Texas, and it was 5 of us getting ready to go back to, I think we were going back to Kuwait. As we sit there, we all showed up. We go to Chili's, and we sit down, order large meals. I think, we were going back to Kuwait. So we ordered large meals, and we were drinking there. As we're sitting there drinking, we were like, all right, somebody comes by and brings us another round of drinks. Next thing you know, it's the 3rd one. So we're about to go pay for our bill, and the waitress just comes up and is like, oh, it's all covered for, don't worry about it. I was like, wow, full meals paid.
Here, when I was in South Carolina, I was part of the funeral detail. So we would have to drive probably sometime 1 or 2 hours away from the base where there's not really a lot of big military presence. We were in uniform, so after the funeral detail, after the funeral ceremony, we would go to a restaurant and just sit down and start eating in uniform. And every time we went out, either somebody paid for the tab or they bought us a beer for everybody, around. And every time, it was great.
if somebody buys you a drink or anything like that, it's it's always appreciated. But when somebody knows that you're military, and if any of you have done this, where you come up to the guy and say, "Hey, thanks for serving our country," any sort of thank you. I mean, we love hearing that, but we have no idea how to respond. Yeah. We just sit there, dumbstruck. Welcome. I mean, I don't know what to say to that, but we love hearing it, but we're just dumb in responding.
On to our next question. All of you have deployed abroad or in foreign countries. What sorts of negative or positive perceptions of America did you encounter during that time?
I mean, people they're great. At least around our base, they actually enjoyed having us there. I got treated very well when I was over there. The people in Iraq, the actual people that were around our FOB, they actually, like the U.S. presidents, at least in Ireland in 2005, they actually appreciated us being there. I mean, I think I had what's called one of the farmers there try to actually offer his daughter to me, like, would you marry us? Sorry about that, like, you can't do that.
I was in England for the 4th of July one year. That was pretty neat. I was walking along in this group of, like older gentlemen, probably in their like mid-60s or so, They stopped me and they started asking me about what I thought about the Boston Tea Party. I mean, I sat down and had tea with these guys. One of the dudes was passionate. I mean, he was so mad that we did that. But most of the Brits I thought were really cool. Drinking at a table any day. In France, I did get a little bit of negative feedback there. I did learn this one thing from a Frenchman. He said, you can tell an American in a bar when you're in a foreign country. And I said, no, that's all right, no. He said, they're smiling and they don't know why. Now I can tell. I've used that one before too. It works, tell you. Walk up to a girl in a foreign bar and she's smiling away. She's American. Greece, like I talked about Greece. When I went to the Asian countries like Singapore and all that, they were real cool. Like I had such a good time. Singapore, South Korea, Hong Kong. I ended up doing like more of the British Hong Kong scene, so couldn't tell you what China was like, honestly. But Bahrain, I went to the Kingdom of Bahrain, and that was different. That's like where all of the, I don't mean to speak bad about it, I'm just saying from my impression, just having gone there a few times, it's where a lot of the people that want to do the shady things that they couldn't otherwise get away with in the Middle East, they go to Bahrain or they go to Dubai to do it. Bahrain's just a little bit more condensed. So I got some negative feedback from Bahrain. They don't like the face, I guess. I don't know. So I definitely had some negative parts there. But if you got money, you can do anything you want to in either one of those places. Yeah, you could freaking play tennis on the top of a hotel and stuff.
How close do you think combat video games are to the reality of
They have my helicopter in there, and I remember like somebody was playing or whatever, and it was literally picture perfect. Like I could like start naming off components in the video game, and I'm like, dude, really? Like this is ridiculous. So I don't know. Like I'd say it's pretty realistic.
Jesus. I picked up that controller and I heard it was such a great game, so I started playing it. And I was like Victor at first. I just said, this is way too real. I mean, everything's exact. Uniforms, gear, it's so realistic. Except for the fact, I've never seen a heartbeat sensor. And getting shot, multiple times, it's BS. But other than that, I mean, it's so real. I play it now. I mean, it's a pretty cool game. But it's really unbelievable to jump to death. So.
Do you think that you did any good in your time in the service?
The people around there actually appreciate us. We're actually able to get them food, supplies, get their city up and running. We were able to get their power lines back up and help pull security for some of the schools that they were building.
One of my jobs is to help convoys move armored Humvees and just the new vehicle, the new technology that was coming out from Kuwait into Iraq. So just getting all that gear there as quickly as I could and getting ammo up there, I think it just, I mean, I felt that at the end of the night, I mean, at the end of the day, I felt like I was contributing to the overall mission. So I think, yeah.
What kinds of questions do you hate being asked?
First one, have you ever killed anybody? I just do not like that question. That's the first question that my little cousin, she's like 6 years old, asked me. I was like, I did not answer that to her, but at the same time, when you got people that are older and they don't have like the respect to like let that be with you within yourself, it's like really, that's the same question my 6-year-old cousin asked me. It's like, come on, grow up a little bit.
Just going along the lines, I agree with Victor.
No one really asked me too many questions about my service. They got it. Navy? Okay. Dixie Cup? Yep, got you. Got your number.
I gotta agree with them. Definitely, that's a really annoying question. And I'm a helicopter mechanic. I do not fly helicopters. All right.
People just need to understand, I mean, it's not something to joke about. Life's not a video game. I mean, you don't kill people because you want to kill people. I mean, you do it because you had to do something or whatever could happen. I mean, but if someone wants to discuss it, you know, I'll talk about my experience of doing whatever. But, you know, yeah, so I'll talk about it if anyone wants to talk.
So that's the list and end of our list. So let's open it up now to the audience. I guess if you raise your hand now and recognize it.
The Navy League provides support to our men and women of the sea services around the world. With the help of individual and corporate members, the sea services become integrated into the local communities they serve and protect. In addition to providing support today to the men and women serving at home and abroad, the Navy League always looks to the future, to today's young people and tomorrow's leaders. The need for a strong, vital sea service, recognized by Theodore Roosevelt in 1902, is no less today. The challenges facing our nation have never been greater. More than 100 years later, the Navy League continues to answer the call. Your support makes a difference to our men and women of the sea services who serve today and will serve tomorrow in support of American sea power. As one Secretary of the Navy said, the sun never sets on the Navy League.